Tonight, the TAFE chief labels the course accreditation crisis affecting parts of our region as a difficult process. And Broken Hill Police jump on their bikes in the latest bid to improve road safety.
This is Southern Cross News with Fraser Goldsworthy.
Good evening. The TAFE SA chief has paid Whyalla a visit to ease the minds of students caught up in the course accreditation crisis. She admits it's been a difficult process, but is confident students will be better off in the near future.
It's a big week at Whyalla TAFE with 30 Liberty One Steel apprentices officially beginning their training. They start during one of TAFE's most difficult periods as it tries to bounce back from a scathing review by the regulator, which forced the suspension of 14 courses.
Challenging time. It's been a challenging time, particularly challenging for our staff, for the staff in this community and right across the state.
Whyalla-born Miss Reid, who was appointed in December, returned home as she begins a tour of regional campuses. She met the new apprentices, as well as updating staff on the action being taken to resolve the accreditation issue.
We've remediated almost all of those students that we needed to remediate very quickly. We're also on track to send our next response back to ASQA, to our regulator.
The region wasn't immune from the issue. Aged care and hairdressing courses in the Spencer Gulf were thrown into limbo as a result.
A certain area assessment. It's not about the way in which TAFE SA teaches students, it's not about the way in which students learn.
And with steelwork apprentices finally back in the fold, she's confident of brighter times for regional SA.
Apprentices at the company, and what a wonderful thing, what a wonderful, wonderful thing for Whyalla.
John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
A Port Lincoln man has been caught drink driving almost 5 times the legal limit during a police stop last night. Just before midnight, officers stopped a Holden sedan on Liverpool Street where a 38-year-old man allegedly returned a blood alcohol reading of .228. He's lost his licence and his car was impounded for 28 days. Police have arrested 2 people after they were allegedly found with ice during a traffic stop in Port Pirie. The driver was drug tested along Mary Ely Street early this morning. Officers say he returned a positive reading to methamphetamine. A car search uncovered around 23 grams of the drug and nearly $6,000 in cash. A 52-year-old male and a 34-year-old female from New South Wales have been charged. They faced court today. The Port Pirie Chamber of Commerce has undergone a bit of a facelift. It has a new name and a new look, which operators say is to reflect the changing face of the town.
The Chamber of Commerce is a united group helping improve the local economy and put Port Pirie businesses first. But it'll now be known as Business Port Pirie.
The reason that we changed the name is just to bring us into the 21st century.
While the name and brand may have changed, the group's passion for improving the community is stronger than ever.
There's 130 people in this room, all business owners. We're all heading in the same direction, so collectively we can do some fantastic things. I look forward to the future.
Last night's dinner saw members of the public embracing the change the town's recently undergone since the Come See Change campaign was launched last year.
Port Pirie's had a bit of an image over many years, and the transformation of the Port Pirie Near Star smelter is the journey of the new technology and the greatest opportunities for Port Pirie in the region.
We've replaced about half the plant with state-of-the-art technology, which will give us the ability to treat a much wider range of materials.
It's hoped by 2020 we'll start to see a significant reduction in the amount of lead emitted into the atmosphere.
We've also started to see an improvement in 2018 by comparison to 2017, but the long-term improvement will take some time.
Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
Broken Hill Police will be targeting drivers along Silverton Road this weekend as the region plays host to a country music festival. The warning comes as officers launch dirt bikes as the latest tool in their crime-fighting arsenal.
The latest addition to tackling crime in the outback. With the Silverton Sunsets Music Festival being held for the first time this weekend, police will be out in full force targeting drink and drug drivers. But now police dirt bikes have entered the fight. Where patrol cars and paddy wagons can't go, these officers can.
One of those capabilities where for a land search or looking for an offender, but also traffic and trying to reduce road trauma around the area.
They have the same abilities as regular patrols, just a couple less wheels and a different uniform. Just 2 days into operation, they're already catching plenty of unsuspecting drivers.
They've done 42 random breath tests, 12 random drug tests. From that had 3 positives and also 19 traffic infringement notices. So they're very, very effective.
Police say motorists can expect these guys out and about everywhere, even on dirt trails like this one along Silverton Road.
You don't know where the police will turn up, either in a police vehicle or a police car or a police bike. They're out and about, so drive to conditions, drive safely and get to where you're going.
Patrick Roinke, Southern Cross News.
After the break, the Federal Education Minister in town to spruik the Liberal policies as the state election campaign ramps up. That's next. One of the nation's most powerful union figures says Whyalla is providing hope for the national workforce. The ACTU's Sally McManus paid the city a visit today to meet with workers, praising them for their commitment during REM's administration crisis.
Sally McManus put her best foot forward today in an historic stronghold city of the union movement. She pressed a flesh with local workers, while also taking a tour of our steelworks.
And what I saw is a community fight back. I saw a community come together. I saw a community win against the odds.
A sentiment echoed by the state's unions.
Whyalla community said, not here, not for us. And they did exactly what unions do. And they stood up, they organised, and they won.
The ACTU is spearheading a campaign to increase wages, with growth at historic lows. It's a sore point for local workers, who begrudgingly took a 10% pay cut 2 years ago. She's encouraged locals to pressure politicians, especially with an election due soon.
And you need to elect, politicians who are going to stand on the side of workers and to create and support a good job.
Ms McManus is secretary at a time when membership is at one of its lowest levels. Its relevance is being questioned, but she says there's never been a more important time for unions.
Australia's worse for not having the union movement at the same strength we used to have it, and we intend to turn it around.
John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
The Liberals have brought in the big guns into the region today as the state election campaign continues. The Federal Education Minister toured a number of schools across the Mid-North in a bid to boost support for regional education.
Nowadays, going to school is a lot more than just the ABCs, but the Federal Education Minister says getting back to basics is vital.
Basic literacy, numeracy, reading, writing skills that are the foundation stones on which future learning occurs.
Today, Senator Birmingham was back in the classroom, visiting students from Napperby and Solomon Town primary schools, as well as students at Mid-North Christian College and John Pirie High School. He spruiked the federal government's commitment to schooling as the state election campaign continues.
$300 extra on average per student, but we want to make sure that schools are using that as effectively as possible, learn from some of the great things that are happening in schools like Napperby Primary. And
the hands-on and engaging learning that kids are taking part in every day in our classrooms.
Have an understanding of some of the needs of some of these country schools, and obviously quite clearly with our visit here at Napperby, the needs are being met.
Napperby Primary student Brodie was excited to showcase all of the hard work and learning they do.
I've been at this school since kindy, so I'm pretty excited to show them all the stuff that I love about the school.
Confident, engaging and interested in what they're learning, and that's really what you hope for.
The Labor Party has come out swinging though, claiming the Liberals are reducing education funding, saying $210 million has been wiped out from SA schools. Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
The Liberal Party has promised $5 million to support CFS station upgrades if elected at the state election next month. The funding will be in addition to ongoing equipment rollouts in rural stations such as Port Lincoln.
The trucks are changed over regularly and we've even got to the system now where some of our older trucks are actually going back into the factory to be retrofitted with some of the safety equipment.
The pledge comes just weeks after the state government promised 5 new water bombers for the service. After the break, a new footy league for girls about to get underway on the Eyre Peninsula. Details next. The search for Whyala's Best Businesswoman is on again for another year. The Enterprising Woman Awards recognise the work of locals making strides on the local business scene. Nominations are now open, with the winner to be announced next month. Organiser and former winner Ashley Styling is encouraging people to start thinking about those around them.
Nominate either a work colleague, a friend, a family member, even nominate yourself, anyone that you think deserves some recognition within the community.
Nominations will close at the end of this month. Well, when you think of hospital food kiosks, you don't think of them typically being unhealthy. But food options at the Broken Hill Hospital have had a refresh as part of a statewide push to improve nutrition.
Healthier options for a healthier you.
And this is for foods that we give to staff and visitors to our health service.
As part of the New South Wales Healthy Food and Drink Framework, all health facilities with food outlets and vending machines will see a boost in healthier options, be it a piece of fruit or a ham and salad roll. But if you still favour a raspberry jam scone, you needn't worry.
What we're aiming to do is get 75% of menu options to be a healthier choice. So it's definitely not about taking away all of the not so healthy options. They're still going to be available.
The Health Service has been working closely with the kiosk volunteers to put the framework into practice, like putting healthier drinks at the top of the fridge and even tinkering with some of the recipes.
We're just trying to get in the kitchen with the volunteer ladies and just help them modify their recipes so they can just make their homemade items just a little bit more healthier.
The majority of customers say they prefer to buy healthy options through the kiosk, showing their support for the increase of healthier alternatives.
If you want a nice homemade sausage roll or a nice little cream cake, they're still going to be available. But if you want a really nice healthy salad plate or a lovely chicken and veggie soup, they're going to be here too.
Patrick Reinke, Southern Cross News.
Girls football will officially kick off tomorrow night in Port Lincoln, with 60 keen participants ready to take part in the newly formed league. The competition will feature Port Lincoln locals as well as girls from Cummins and Tumby Bay.
After months of preparation and a number of visits from AFL clubs, Port Lincoln is ready to launch its first girls footy competition.
It's really great that we're able to offer something locally for the local girls.
The success of women's football in the AFL led to the girls in Port Lincoln pushing for their own league.
It brings to home really that the opportunities are opening up and a recognition by the local football league of the importance of women's football.
The decision came after Crows premiership players Chelsea Randall and Anne Hutchard visited the region as part of a girls coaching clinic. Former Crows legend turned Port assistant Scott Thompson also handed out pointers during the Powers' recent community camp. It's hoped it'll see more girls one day playing in the big leagues.
To further develop that pathway over the next 4 or 5 years need to continue to happen. But I think this is a really important step and a recognition really that girls football is an important part of local sport.
The league will host an under 15 and 18 competition divided into 3 teams from Port Lincoln, Tumby Bay and Cummins. The 6-week league will play in twilight conditions every Friday, beginning tomorrow at Centenary Oval.
It's going to be really exciting to see the girls play.
Jason Kemp, Southern Cross News.
No doubt it'll be a great addition to local sport. Time now for fishing tips.
Welcome to another week around the Gulf Fishing Tips from Port Pirie. It's a fantastic time to be on the water at the moment. It's all nice and warm and there's not so much wind. The blue swimmer crabs are running amok. They're beautiful and hard in size, so we should have no problems with it. Yellowfin whiting, we've been reporting over those for the last few weeks. Now anywhere from Barrows Beach right back through to Roona Island, you can catch yourself a good feed. Try to mix your bait up a little bit. They're probably getting a little bit tired of cockle, so perhaps introduce some prawn and you'll do well. Some good sized snapper to be had on the local drops, just in close to the creeks, so work a little hard. Don't put any burley down, you should be alright.
Good numbers of snapper flowing in over the last week. The areas to target have been out towards Ward Spit on sun up and sun down. If you just sit on the beacon there's some nice fish to be caught. Also the Point Lowly Rip's been firing really well. Around the mid-morning on the swing of the tides, if you get in just on the edge, there's been some good fish coming from there. Also for the land-based along Black Point, there's been some nice pan-sized snapper coming off the rocks there. You've got to get there nice and early, guys, on the crack of first light, and also late afternoons. If you've got the strong southerly winds in the afternoon, there's been some good fish down there. It is hard to cast out with the southerlies in your face, but that's when the fish have been coming in. Along the foreshore, some really nice sized silver whiting, get in around knee-height water.
G'day and welcome to this week's fishing tips from Port Lincoln. Starting up in the Gulf, the snapper reports have been pretty quiet, but best reports have been from inshore at Port Neal and Arno Bay. A few whiting, snook, garfish, plenty of squid around out there. Down around Port Lincoln, there's been a few garfish around the bay. There's been great catches of crabs around the bay. Inshore at Coffin Bay, there's been a few whiting, and there's been some good trevally around the sandhills and a few garfish around there as well. That's it for this week. We'll see you again next week.
Stay with us. After the break, we'll have all the local weather details with Abby Donaldson. And Abby, we saw sweltering temps around the region today.
Yes, we did, Fraser. It was very hot and humid in most centres. The good news is relief is on its way for the weekend. I'll have all the details next. Welcome back. Well, it was an absolute scorcher in Port Augusta today as the mercury tipped 38 degrees, cloudy and very hot in Whyalla and Port Pirie too, 37 the max for both centres. It was humid and wet in the west today, 27 the top in Port Lincoln. To the satellite now, and clouds spreading from the west ahead of a trough and low pressure system is producing those patchy light showers in the west and south. It's generally clear everywhere else. On the waters tomorrow, we'll see winds shifting northwest early morning ahead of a west to southwesterly change up to 25 knots during the afternoon. Seas up to 2.5 metres and sunrise is at 7 o'clock on the dot. Looking at conditions for your Friday, Port Augusta will see no relief from the heat overnight, just 27 the low, before temps warm up to 36 degrees tomorrow. That's the same for Corn. Another warm day in store for Whyalla too, 34 the top. That patchy rain is going to continue in the west, 23 the top for Coffin Bay. And it looks like it's going to be a hot day everywhere else, a warm 35 the top for Port Pirie. Looking at conditions for your weekend plans, it will remain humid with those showers in the west tomorrow. Those showers are expected to continue into Saturday as well, but temps do cool off a little, 24 the top for Port Lincoln. It's going to be cloudy on Sunday, but the sunshine returns on Monday and it will warm up to 27 the max for Port Lincoln and Cleve. And it's a similar story further up the Gulf. The heat's going to continue tomorrow before temps cool off slightly for Saturday, and it's looking like lovely summery conditions for your weekend plans as temps dip into the mid to high 20s with plenty of sunshine out and about. And the mercury rises again on Monday, 33 the top for Port Augusta. And lastly, it'll remain hot in all centres tomorrow, a scorching 37 the top for Broken Hill. We'll see some scattered showers as temps cool off for the weekend though. It's looking like much more bearable maximums, 28 the top on Saturday and Sunday in Port Pirie. It's cooling down to just 23 degrees for Cleve on Sunday before a sunny and warmer start to the working week. So Fraser, it's looking like we'll get a good break from the heat over the weekend.
Thanks, Abby. A look at tonight's top stories now. The TAFE SA chief has paid Whyalla a visit to ease the minds of students caught up in the course accreditation crisis. She admits it's been a difficult process, but is confident students will be better off in the near future. The Port Pirie Chamber of Commerce has undergone a bit of a facelift. It has a new name and a new look, which operators say is to reflect the changing face of the town. And Broken Hill Police will be targeting drivers along Silverton Road this weekend as the region plays host to a country music festival. The warning comes as officers launch dirt bikes as the latest tool in their crime-fighting arsenal. And that's Southern Cross News tonight. Thanks for your company. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Good night.